Hey guys, Phillip Blevins here coming at you with another episode of Demo Lab. And today I have in my hands the Tagima TW-61. And it looks strikingly similar to a guitar that I own, the Jazzmaster. A very iconic body shape that I've fallen in love with over the past couple of years. Now this guitar is a lot cheaper than my Jazzmaster, so I feel like I can really put it to the test to compare and to let you know if it really holds up to the real thing. Now, Tagima is a Brazilian guitar manufacturer, and they have the TW series, which is what this guitar falls under. If you go on their website, you'll see a lot of familiar guitar shapes, mostly Fender-style guitars and setups. So what they're doing is they're going back and recreating some of the most iconic guitar shapes and setups there are, and bringing them to you at an affordable price point and adding some cool features that aren't on the originals. And we'll get into that a little bit on this guitar as well, because it adds some things that my Jazzmaster doesn't have, which is really cool that they're thinking about those kinds of things. Overall, playability on this instrument is just phenomenal right out of the box. This is just one that we had at our store. I restrung it before the demo, but I didn't do any kind of setup on it. I just put my favorite gauge strings on and I went to town, and it just plays incredibly well. It feels really good in my hands. So if you have the chance to go try one out, please do so. But stay tuned for more tech specs as we dive into this guitar and some more playing here in just a few minutes. Now, before we go any further, I do want to mention that we're always bringing high quality audio and video for these demo labs. So we are running through my personal Supro Jupiter combo amp today. This is an all-tube guitar amp. I'm not really doing anything special with it. I just have the volume up at halfway. I'm not using any onboard tremolo or reverb either. But it's gonna give us a really good picture of what this guitar is gonna sound like and the different variations of tone that we can have with just the guitar. Now I am gonna be using a couple of pedals as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit, and I use some on the intro, so I'll make sure to note that in the description below, or ask us what I was using. I'd be glad to tell you. And then as far as audio goes, we are running into Pro Tools today with just a little bit of processing on the back end, so it's nice and loud for YouTube. And then we're gonna be running these two mics into some API preamps. We've got a 57 and a 421 on the guitar cabinet. Now, let's dive into some tech specs before we have any more playtime. This guitar is constructed with an all-popular body with a nice lacquer finish that's super durable and will hold up to anything you throw at it. Now on the back side, you can see we have the classic bolt-on neck. It's a standard Fender procedure here, just like the Jazzmaster. If you wanted to swap the neck out, you could. I don't recommend it, but it's definitely an option if you want to go that route. Now, speaking of the neck, it is really nice maple wood. It has a gloss finish on it, but it's not too glossy. Sometimes a gloss neck can be sticky or slow, and I like the amount of gloss that's on it. It's very playable and feels nice on your hands. Now, on the headstock, we do have 6 vintage style inline tuners. I'm gonna flip it over again so you can see the top side of this. They're nice chrome finish as well. And then we also have an old string tree up here that holds the bottom 2 strings in when you're playing. The fingerboard on this guitar is a nice dark rosewood with 22 frets. And again, kudos to the setup of this guitar and what Tagima is doing. When I ran my finger across this neck here, I didn't feel any snags or tears on my fingers like I do on some other instruments. So it's set up really nice out of the box and just plays really, really nicely. Now we're gonna work our way down to the pickups of this guitar. What's really driving this machine right now are these Tagima P90 pickups. They're pretty hot. They have a lot of clarity, a lot of punch, and it's not your typical Jazzmaster pickup, but I dig it. I actually like the amount of volume I'm getting out of this guitar and the responsiveness I feel from it. And it takes overdrive really, really well. And another thing that's surprising about these P90 pickups is they're relatively low noise, which is a big bonus for a single coil guitar like this. Now we're going to talk about the switch right here. Normally on a Jazzmaster, the pickup selector switch is on the bottom side of the guitar, but they've actually swapped it to be at the top, which is actually a huge bonus because this is way easier for me to switch between pickups being up here rather than down here. So that's just a really smart thing to do there, and it's just your standard three-way switch to go between the three different pickups. In lieu of the standard rhythm selector switch, if you're familiar with the Jazzmaster that normally lives up here, they've swapped that out for a 5-way Veritone switch. This is a really cool EQ adjuster for the overall sound of the guitar. I started out on number 1 for the intro, which is a little bit more on the full side. Now, if you roll this Veritone switch back, you can see that there's a little dot, a little black dot there that will tell you which position you're in. So you've got 5 different options, and the best way I can describe it is the further you go to 5, the more low end and mids are taken out of the guitar. Just a really cool way to give some more variety to the sound of this instrument. Now here we've got your standard volume and tone. These are both master controls for your pickups. And then we have the top mounted input jack on the bottom side here. And of course, it's not a Jazzmaster if it doesn't have a floating bridge. And this one's got a really nice one too. So kudos again to Tagima for designing a really nice piece of hardware. This feels a little bit more like a Strat bridge to me, with it being a little bit shorter instead of the longer traditional Fender Jazzmaster style bridge. But I actually really like it because I can set my palm on it and rest pretty easily and still play the strings without kind of that digging into my fingers there. This is a fully adjustable bridge as well, so you can adjust for intonation and string height. And then you've got this nice long tremolo arm as well. And you saw me playing that a little bit on the intro as well, you know, doing some dive bombs and stuff in that Black Keys intro. And it held tune really well. So it just bounces right back to where you have it set up, which is really awesome. And just another factor into the build quality for Tagima guitars. I think that's enough chit chat on the tech specs of this guitar. Let's talk about the finish options that we have. Today I'm playing my favorite finish that they offer, which is a Fiesta Red. I just think it looks awesome, very vintage, and it feels like a Ferrari in my hands. I think that they offer currently a vintage white, a black, and a sunburst. Of course, that's subject to change. Hopefully they keep those same colors because I really like them, but we'll see what the future holds. And all of the guitars come with the standard tortoiseshell pickguard as well. Just a nice vintage flair on top of that. Now let's do some playing. I'm gonna play a couple clean riffs here with just a little bit of reverb so you've got some space. I'm gonna start off on the neck pickup, and then tone is all the way up, and I'm gonna roll that master volume all the way up as well. All right, now let's see what this thing can really do. That's just a simple demonstration of what this three-way switch can do with the two different P90 pickups we've got in this guitar. A lot of tonal variation there, and I really dig this last position, which is both pickups on at the same time. Makes me think a lot of the Jazzmaster that I have. Really dig what this guitar can do. But now let's put it to the ultimate test. Let's see if it can surf. So grab your swim trunks and dive in real quick. Hang 10, my dude. Now, I want to talk about the Veriton Switch, which I mentioned briefly earlier, but it's just an overall EQ for your guitar pickups. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a simple riff a couple times, and I'm going to cycle through the 5 different positions that we have here. So I'm going to start off on number 1 on the bridge pickup, and you can really hear the difference when I start to change this Veriton knob. So that's number 1. Listen to what number 2 does. Number 3. Number 4. And lastly, number 5. Huge tonal variety right there with just the roll of this Veriton knob. Really awesome, and it actually cleans up the overdrive really well too, which is awesome. Now I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna go a little bit dirtier. You're gonna recognize this guitar tone. I'm gonna add some more overdrive, some fuzz. I'm gonna roll the guitar tone back just a little bit as well. And let's see what this thing can do as far as rock and alternative goes. Wow, that's crazy. I love this guitar. Unfortunately, our time in the demo lab is running very short right now, so I need to wrap things up. But guys, if you can get your hands on this guitar, please do so. If you're in Birmingham, swing by our store. Likelihood is that we're gonna have one of these in stock because we wanna keep these on hand because they're such killer instruments. And hopefully, I'll pick one up myself here soon too. But if you can't make it over to Birmingham, go online and shop with us. That's masonmusic.com/retail. And you can find all of our current selection, guitars in stock, pedals, amps, whatever, you name it, we've got it. I would love to ship you this guitar, and this one will be for sale, this very one that I'm holding here. So grab it while you can. This has been a blast. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Demo Lab. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube page. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to answer your questions and chat with you about gear and other stuff that you're looking at. So my name is Phillip. This has been Demo Lab, and until next time, rock on.